Thank you very much. We're going to take it back a little bit. We're going to be talking about digital platforms. It's been a growing need over the years, especially with the new tailing standards that are coming out. Especially back in 2015, I received a call, 2015, with the Fandao failure. AECOM's directly involved with the Fandao failure, and then 2 years later, or 4 years later, the Bermagino failure occurred. When you experience that firsthand, flying it over, there's got to be solutions, and so our solution is DamSmart, and we're going to be talking about that today. But first, what I'd like to do is just change it up a little bit. AECOM, we just wanted to inform the folks here who AECOM is and our ESG position. The greenhouse protocols and so forth for Scope 3. It's very important for operators to use vendors that have a good, solid ESG standing. So we'll see if we can get this video to work.
As the world's trusted infrastructure consulting firm and a leader in environmental, social, and corporate governance, we're determined and well-positioned to deliver impactful and sustainable legacies. Our Sustainable Legacy strategy ensures that the work we do in partnership with our clients leaves a positive, lasting impact on our communities and the planet.
Well, what a fantastic launch it's been since April in terms of our Sustainable Legacy strategy. And just last week, we also released our sustainability report. We had such a strong showing at the COP26 Climate Change Conference. We're continuing to work through some of the tools that we have at our disposal for launching our Scope X initiative, which is all about taking 50% of carbon emissions out of our design on large-scale projects. We also want to build on our commitment to have a lasting impact in the communities that we serve. That's all about the S in the ESG.
Together, we're finding innovative infrastructure solutions and developing new technology to help clear the path to a safe and sustainable future. In the aftermath of the catastrophic tailings dam failures in Minas Gerais, Brazil, AECOM has served as the Brazilian government's technical auditor for emergency and long-term mining auditing services. These disasters highlight the critical need worldwide for effective safety guidelines and the vital work of the International Council on Mining and Metals. The ICMM continues to lead the charge in support of measures that protect our environment and ultimately save lives. Continued climate change, along with funding constraints and political pressures, make risk prioritization more important than ever. Leading companies and agencies have chosen AECOM's DamSmart instrumentation monitoring platform to maintain the highest levels of data integrity for their dam safety programs and regulatory compliance requirements. DamSmart can be used as part of an early warning system or for long-term performance monitoring of dams and other critical infrastructure. When coupled with automated data acquisition systems, DamSmart offers unique single data sourcing for surveillance information and digital twin risk-informed decision-making. Integrating ESG values with our technical capabilities puts us in the best position to address the greatest challenges our clients face today. At AECOM, we're committed to leading the change toward a more sustainable and equitable future and delivering a better world for generations to come.
That just give you a little overview about AECOM and our ESG's positioning on it. The mining sector, I don't have to tell you folks, but the mining sector is going through some great changes. I think they're positive, but there's also being challenged by internal, external variables, the tailings standards, just the ESG, the rolling out of the ESG. the actual, the risk factors, the license to operate. That used to be, for the last 2-3 years, the driving force. But because of the ESG's rollout, ESG and the actual decarbonization was part of the license to operate. So the biodiversity, the social impacts, the water management. Water management during times of drought and during high rain events is very critical. How do you monitor that? How do you address it? Especially if it's competing against, during drought times, during the social impact. I had some great conversations today with some people that we talked about the decarbonization, so the electrifying of mines, how that's going to impact the social fabric of the community, how they're going to address that. And then just the license to operate is, again, it's the community, the outreach of the ESG and how that's going to impact it. During the market drivers, what we did, we've had Dam Smart in play for about 2 decades. We'll get to that in a minute, but we've been using it for 2 decades. After the 2 failures down in Brazil, the company learned that we need to expand on it. We need to expand on it so it's basically tracking ESG monitoring. Also with the new tailing standards, we don't know how that's going to be rolled out completely. I was up in Banff just about 3 weeks ago in the Tailings and Mine Waste Conference. We had some great conversations up there too. We talked about resources with the mine operators, but also the service providers. They just don't know where they're going to get the resources, especially the mine owners, operators. They need other tools to be able to actively monitor their structures because of the resources. They just can't find the resources to appropriately to staff what they need to do, especially with the global tailings standards. There's a great concern to how they're going to address that. So through we did a market discussion with a lot of our clients. Climate change, extreme weather and drought conditions, what we touched on that a little bit. But extreme weather, climate change. That was another great conversation that I've had here today, but also up in Banff. I've had mine operators come and talk to me, what does climate change mean? It was very enlightening that they don't have a plan. It's all driven by weather. Most of it's driven by weather, how it's going to generate water, but also drought. And so AI technology related to weather development, we're not talking seasonal or short term, we're talking long term. We're talking years to decades out, how you do that. There's technologies out there that are being developed. You've heard a lot about possibly in the literature of how weather is being advanced quickly. They're still missing that piece. We've teamed up with some technologies, some startups, to be able to help us bring that to the marketplace. Low carbon economy. The World Bank's estimating is going to be 3 billion tons of materials needed for batteries and also solar and wind power. The battery storage. I just developed a white paper. We got a project up in the Northeast. It's a large pump storage project. The Department of Energy asked us to develop a white paper comparing battery storage and also hydropower. They're both going to be needed. But the life cycle costs for, as you folks know, life cycle costs for batteries, it was interesting that the information we reviewed, it wasn't included by what the industry is going through. So 1,000 times, roughly 1,000 times the lithium that will be required, that wasn't considered. Also disposal, it wasn't considered. So we've been asked to further expand on that. And then the community, the water resources. So during times of drought, where are you going to get that water? We've also teamed up with a power developer and for actual pump storage to provide energy, but also desalination. So it's a combination, it's a patented type of system to be able to pump water, use it for energy, and then use it for the head to pressurize through the membranes. So based on drought conditions, it's going to be a positive effect for the communities around the mines and to be able to provide that energy. Resource access, it's going deeper. It's going to, as you folks know, you're going to be generating more tailings to dispose of. How are you going to dispose of them? Dry stacking and so forth, or developing and so forth. But that really goes to the digital technologies I really want to talk about today. Is how are you going to monitor that? How are you going to report it? The reporting structure in some areas are still developing, is just like the standards are. So just to give you a high-level overview for DamSmart, we found that we've used it, again, for the last 2 decades. And to be able to facilitate, collaborate with our clients, it's an open structure type platform. If you see in the middle, that was the core DamSmart. It was about 3 years ago we moved it to the cloud. Otherwise, it just sat in the client's servers. We moved it to the cloud with high security. And then we added the technologies, the APIs, to be able to talk to DamSmart. One thing nice about DamSmart, and we'll get into the structure a little bit, it's an open structure again. That's beneficial to use other technologies. So DamSmart is really an umbrella. It's an umbrella that the client can use to report, to monitor, to tie together any technology they want. And that comes together by the Dam Health type technologies. That could be piezometers, settlement markers, inclinometers. You go down through the list. It can also do water quality, because that's a tech. It's tied into a card system. The weather forecasting. Again, we believe that is a driving force for climate change, to be able to analyze that, to look at how that's impacting the mine sites long term, depending on the closures, how you're going to deal with that. Weather forecasting is very important. NSAR, I'm not going to talk too much about it. My friend Alistair is going to be talking about that in detail. But we believe NSAR is very important too, just for the analysis for ground truthing with the instrumentation and so forth. How many times have inspectors gone out? They don't have the information. They're looking for auditing type tools. Our clients are reaching out to us for real time to be able to have their inspectors, the auditors, to be able to gather information prior to, bring it with them, but also have real access, real time, if they have cell coverage or satellite coverage, to be able to access that information. It's very important to do that. It's just based on the risk, the real-time risk evaluation, to be able to look at the information, report back, have real-time decisions. And then the threshold notifications. What DamSmart does, you can set your own thresholds. Those thresholds have alarms that goes out to the dedicated users to be able to act on it. The one thing that we've held off is the actual automation of dams. It's been brought up, but you still need the human factor in there to make those decisions. Part of the deep learning AI process is really just anticipating, based on mass data, how what the intended or the forecast based on instrumentations, what does that mean for a particular dam, company, and so forth. I've touched on a couple of these things, but it gives you an overview of what it does, how we're constantly expanding on it. And I think the overall power of DamSmart is that you can use it in the field, gain access in the field real time, get that information back to the leaders of the organization, and to be able to respond in a proactive manner, to be able to monitor, to be able to act on potential causes of dam safety issues. The hierarchy, again, you can use it for a single dam, it's scalable, or you can use it for a portfolio of dams to be able to tie together the data, the video and so forth, the different sites. Again, we like to stress is that it's strictly just not for geotechnical purposes. It can be used for water quality. Anything that has a signal, we can tie into the system. So the data input, it's a satellite manual upload. So we have a lot of clients that have data that are stored hard copy and digitally, be able to put that in a database to have access to it at their fingertips, and then sensors, instrumentation. You put that together with the DamSmart engine, and again, it's an open architecture, so you'd be able to, with support from AECOM, your people can actually develop the card system. Let's get through this. It's kind of hard to see. There's a canvas on the left-hand side, it's called, and then the card system. Those cards are developed for each technology. You grab and drop it into the panel. So you can actually modify, the user can modify it as required to be able to look at what they want to do, to what they want to track, to what they want to report. So reporting, it's all developable. It's really client specific. Structural health, that's what it's all about. To be able to monitor that health, to be able to set the thresholds for, based on the AI, the trends, what is anticipated. Again, it doesn't operate your dam, it gives notifications for the user, the operator, to take action for the structure. This is just a picture of the plot, different type of plots. You can pull up plots, you can print them out, you can arrange them on the canvas any way you see fit. If you have a large control center, you can wrap it across the back side or use separate panels, however you want to use it for. This is the management tool, again, notifications. Digital mobile, so they're friendly for field support staff. So digital twins, it's tying together the actual live information with the digital arena. What we've done, and we're just developing this right now, is to be able to take live information, feed it into models, if that's a stability model, seepage model, confirm the analysis, if you want to use that terminology, just to be sure that you don't have an issue building on the structure. And again, that rolls back to the real-time notification for the ESG type monitoring. With that, I'd really like to talk, just stop by our booth at E1. I'd like to get your input, what stressors and what challenges you're facing. Thank you very much.